All right, good evening and welcome everyone to our June 7th Reinvest New Ulm RENU Committee meeting. I appreciate again everyone's attendance here this evening. We'll call the meeting to order, and we have a few items for business here to review and approve tonight, as we discussed at our last meeting, and thanks to the city leaders that are here, as well as our one guest, Dr. Vogel. Thank you for being in attendance here this evening as well, and everyone watching along at home or on tape delay. Before we get into our formal business of reviewing minutes, I again wanted to just take a moment to thank the committee. I looked back in my packet just here a minute ago, and we started this journey a long time ago, but our first meeting was September 15th. So we've been meeting since the middle of September, 9 months. So thank you for your engagement and strong attendance, and we'll maybe have some other closing comments later on. But we did include in the packet minutes from our May 31st meeting, which was only a week ago. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review the packet, the materials that were sent out, and the minutes from last meeting. Any comments, recommendations on the minutes from our May 31st meeting?
Did I use the word massage? No, I'm just joking.
Okay. Evidently it's in the minutes.
It's in there.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion to approve, and we have a second for the May 31st meeting minutes. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And yes, Bob, you must have used massage. Now I got to find what the context for the massage part was. Yeah. All right. Next item of business, review and approve recommended project one-page summary. So as you remember, last meeting we had previewed some project summaries that were put together hopefully to be helpful and supportive to the city council and other city leaders and the public really on projects that we would be recommending. I didn't receive too many comments on these, so would look for any comments this evening on the project summaries. One comment I received or recommendation was on the Recreation Center expansion project summary. You had that in your packet. It was the red color document. Under community, there was a bullet point there supporting aging of a population, and one recommendation would be to change that to become a growing active senior population. One recommendation to change some of the verbiage, that we have a very active senior community and a growing population at that, and would want to serve them well from our facilities, from our programs across the community. Any other feedback or comments on the project summaries? Time for city council and city staff to again review them, and maybe there's something we're not catching that needs to be revised. That can be done before the city council meeting in 2 weeks, but if there are no other comments or recommendations, could we have a motion to approve the summaries that were included in the packet?
I'll make a motion to approve the summaries.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the project summaries. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda this evening was to review recommended ballot. Again, I think there'd be more work obviously that will take place with the ballot if the city council so chooses to add it to the November general election, but we agreed, I think, at our last couple of meetings that it would be good at least to recommend a template or at least a place to start. The ballot was included in the packet. Last meeting we had some discussion on add more detail, keep it simple, and there was, I think, some discussion there. Any more comments or recommendations this evening?
I think if we're looking at the ballot question, I think we want to keep it very clear, so it's a very clear choice, so the public doesn't get confused, you know? I mean, because we're trying to put 6, 7, items on here, and if we can just, everybody take a look at our choices, I think, and determine if it's just 2 words or keep it simple, I think, and clear.
Just for clarification, on a ballot, there'll be a yes or no for
Yeah.
all or none. It's not going to be individually, correct?
Correct. And I did incorporate, I don't know what happened here in the version that I'm now viewing in my
Yeah,
packet.
it's missing the version from what I've seen.
I actually added some of the recommendations from our last meeting, and the version I'm looking at in the packet, because as I'm going through here, I remember I added seasonal to the dome facility. I remember it ADA for Johnson. There were key terms or words that
Yeah.
were mentioned last time,
Yeah, I've got them written down, but
and they're not on my version
Safety
here.
for Herman Heights.
Right.
Safety was Herman Height. I added, I think, 1 or 2 key words to almost every statement, and I apologize. I
Do we have it in our minutes?
don't know what,
The safety part was in the minutes.
I think you sent me with an attachment.
Yeah, that was one of them that was
Come up
changed.
on
That
that.
was in the minutes.
Under 4. I've already filed it.
Number 4?
Number 4.
Come up on something you sent.
so I don't know if I'll be productive trying to find a file on my computer phone here, but we did have some recommendations here, and as I remember if we go through each of these, recreational water park and aquatics, did we have a recommendation last meeting on that one?
That one we were just leaving.
Yeah, I don't remember anything with that. I remember the word families right at the top header where it says families across the New Ulm regional area. That's what I had written in my notes. So instead of saying projects to serve children, seniors,
Oh,
and
yeah.
families across the region, we had across the New Ulm regional area.
Okay. And regional water park and aquatic center,
I think that one was fine.
recreation center expansion.
So,
Multi-purpose, I remember seasonal
Seasonal activity
seasonal
center
dome.
/ multi-purpose.
so I do wonder for the recreation center expansion if we should expand it to include some of the things that we're talking about in that, right? Because we're not adding just a basketball court. We're talking about the indoor playground. I realize they keep it simple.
Is it
but-
better known as Vogel Fieldhouse than Recreation Center? That's my question. As far as clarification. I would think most people know where the Recreation Center is, but if it's Vogel Fieldhouse, it may have a more definitive
Mhm.
purpose.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we add some of our recommendations in here, my feeling is this won't be the final ballot.
Mhm.
There'll be some work done by the city council, city attorney, and others that are gonna be interested, but if we kind of provide things that we feel are important, maybe we can recommend changes tonight, move it on to the next place, and then we'll
Yeah.
feel good about that. So I'm hearing New Ulm under .1, recreation center, maybe adding Vogel Fieldhouse.
And then do we want to add anything for what the expansion actually means? The gymnastics, or do we want to leave it vague? Because that means gymnastics, indoor playground, or the wellness stuff.
Well, on that one-page summary, it has some clarification.
Yeah, it has a colon and then the 3 things, indoor playground, wellness center, and gymnastics. I wonder if that would serve it by adding those 3 pieces.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay, what were they again?
Playground, wellness center, and gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
Indoor, yeah.
Indoor playground.
Indoor playground?
Indoor playground. Okay. Multi-purpose seasonal was, I thought, the key word that I heard on that one. Johnson Baseball Park, ADA is what I remember that was key term.
Yes.
And also the WPA was according to the minutes.
Yeah.
And then Herman Heights, we talked about
Safety.
traffic safety realignment.
So if those key terms, phrases are incorporated into the ballot document, again, I don't see this as final version, but at least are incorporated into the recommendation to City Council. Oh, yes, Director Schmitz?
Yes, Chair and committee members, two quick items I might point out in that. In the center portion, the bolded portion in the middle of the page there, in the City of New Ulm shall proceeds 1/2 cent. It's technically per cent, up at the top it's correct, 1/2%. I think we want to make certain it's percent as opposed to cent. And then in the bottom section, I'm suggesting if we're going to title it, or if we're going to have region in the title, so to speak, we don't need the word region anywhere else below the title if we're trying to reduce the number of printed words. We don't need to call it a regional water park if we're, the heading is region. Along with the National Guard, we could take regional out of that too, to save a word. Those are my two comments.
Thank you. Good comments. And I believe there was maybe a recommendation from Dr. Vogel, if you want to come up to the microphone. Introduce yourself
Thank you.
and
My name
address
is
for
Ann
the record.
Vogel. I live at 516 South State Street, and I read over all your extensive work, and I thank you for all the tons of work you've done. But I remember, because I listened to the rerun about 3 o'clock in the morning of your last meeting, and enhancement was one of the words that you brought up, and you thought, well, maybe that doesn't quite convey. And I think if you were trying to look at the general voting public, if you emphasize the safety concerns, ADA compliance, and service to the public. Service kind of tells you a little more of engagement of the people who could benefit by it, of all these projects, so just think about that. I think voters, they say, oh, it's added service, you could better access at up at Herman's Height. All ages have increased public service so they can highly utilize it, no matter what their functional disabilities are. So that's my only comment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other recommendations on the ballot document? So if I'm taking notes properly here, I'll recap some of what I've heard and see if there's agreement to approve this. In the middle paragraph, changing cent to percent, and incorporating New Ulm in the header where we're outlining the key projects, and then that would prompt a removal of regional under the bullet point section, and we would incorporate the Vogel Fieldhouse and the 3 components of the Recreation Center proposal, which were indoor playground, wellness center, gymnastics. We would add seasonal to the dome facility. We would add ADA and WPA to the Johnson Baseball Park. We would add traffic safety to Herman Heights. And we would try to incorporate some sort of service phrasing to appropriate projects, or maybe to the header, to the public.
Take out regional and the National Guard.
And take out regional and the National Guard and the water park, correct?
Right.
Yep.
Yep. With those modifications, would there be support?
Absolutely.
So would we for Johnson Park, would we use ADA and WPA upgrades, basically?
Sure.
The word upgrade? Okay.
Any other recommendations? Would there be support to take action on this evening?
Yes.
This might
I'll
be
move, I'll move
s-
approval.
Oh,
this might be a dumb question, but Johnson Baseball Park, is that what it's called, or is it Johnson Park?
Johnson Park, Johnson Field is the football field. Johnson
Okay, so
Park
are
is
there
the
enhancements to the
baseball.
football field too, within this?
No.
Okay,
no,
because
it
I
says
saw added seating, I didn't know if that meant bleachers by the,
It's improvements to the Johnson Baseball Park,
Okay.
Johnson Park grandstand. It's really a grandstand improvement project,
okay.
based on
So we
health and
should
safety
be
needs.
keeping baseball. I think
I
it's
think so.
Probably
important.
would be more clear to the
Yeah.
public.
Okay.
I think the public doesn't know the difference between park and field down there in that complex.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. I believe we had a motion, is that right, Mr.
I made the
Stones?
motion, I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ballot with the modifications that we just all reviewed. Director Schmitz, Assistant Director Corman, have you captured those? You feel adequately for the motion and the second? Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to item number 5, included in the packet, I was trying to recap much of what we just reviewed here, the project summaries, the ballot, a lot of the work that we've undertaken over the last 9 months together, and tried to put together a memo that would go from this committee, the RENU Committee, to City Council for their next scheduled meeting on June 21st. Would look for feedback, comments on the memo that was included in the packet. Any recommendations?
I think it's excellently written.
Is there any update on the Turner Gymnastics, their thoughts yet? Have they come to any decisions up there? Nothing new?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
So it's a matter of housekeeping, we would make those changes that we have on the ballot, would they be incorporated into this language as well? Or isn't it important to do that?
I would look to the rest of the committee, so probably you would be thinking about section 3, is that right? Where we
Yes.
outline the
Just make
project
the same
titles
changes there so that we're starting to reinforce
using
the
the same.
terminology that would be, the same.
Okay.
If we're gonna align all the way, then we probably wanna do it on the one pagers too. If we want to. I personally am fine with the way it's written. But if we're gonna do one.
Any other comments, suggestions on the memo of recommendations to the city council?
Wonder if we should maybe include something, that we're trying to make the Vogel Fieldhouse more of a destination, by adding, these extra, services to the community. I don't know, that's just a thought. Cause we came into this for other organizations wanted their own building, but then this could kind of just that we wanna make like a one-stop shopping, down at the Vogel Fieldhouse, that it's a destination, if the gymnastics, it's just
Are you thinking in terms of the phrasing
maybe phrasing.
of the item B, or in the narrative of trying to provide that context and
Maybe in the narrative.
vision for the city council?
Maybe in the narrative, just, that we're trying to be conservative, not trying to add another separate building, to maintain, that we were, trying to include, to make it, more of a regional benefit just to be in one location, maybe? That's just, I don't know how the right words are for it, but,
Yeah.
It's
I
probably
just-
in that very last paragraph
yeah.
where you sum it up very nicely.
Or after number 3.
Maybe is it?
Well, on item C, you mentioned independent school district 88. Should maybe you just, on the gymnastics, mention Turner Hall?
Well, I guess.
It's a joint venture.
Yeah, I look for, comments from the group here. At this point, ISD 88 has expressed support to move forward and sees that this could be a great partnership for the community. At this point, Turner Hall hasn't expressed any
Okay.
support for
Okay.
the program being located at the recreation center.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it couldn't happen in the future, but at this point, they haven't expressed any interest.
Good point.
And for me, it's kind of complicated a little bit, our recommendation and ratings, because for me, the gymnastics proposal was rated as a separate independent facility. And now if it would be incorporated at the rec center, that was kind of the number one proposal. So the gymnastics right now is the last one in, but yet it's part of the rec center, which was the first project on the list.
Gotcha.
Work through that,
Yeah.
but it
But nonetheless, if we build the addition, Tom says they could fill it.
Yeah.
So,
and we might have other gymnastic programs interested.
You sure he said that?
But also
Is it
going
in-
back to the IDS support, they're actually a significant financial commitment as well with the intent to have the artificial turf for that field. So there is already a commitment of
investment, yeah.
significance, yes.
I think you did an excellent job, and it's never gonna be perfect, and I would recommend that we make a motion to approve it and move it forward.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Is the motion and second as is, or with some of the incorporated feedback we just captured here of changing to match the ballot language and emphasize a little bit more of the destination we see for the recreation center and other projects?
I say we just leave it as is, because what you said, it's good enough. There's gonna be dialogue. This is
Never gonna be perfect.
formality, and there's gonna be a lot of discussion kind of on top of what we just talked about here. So-
Assuming there'll be,
Intended motion, Jim?
I made a motion, yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and second
Somebody
to
over there
approve.
seconded.
Yep.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 was actually just a reference of documents that were probably emailed out by me that didn't get into the formal packets. We wanted to make sure those were going to be available for future reference. So we probably don't need to review those again this evening, but those were from previous meetings and placed in tonight's packet. Any other business for our committee tonight?
Well, if nobody else does, I'd like to thank you for taking leadership of this whole team here. And I think you brought out a lot of new ideas and a very good learning curve for me. And your leadership took us through some monumental issues, I think. I would have not wanted to lead a meeting of 15 people with all different people, decisions or whatever. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. It's been a privilege, so thank you for entrusting me with the position of chair. The 9 months has flown by for me. I don't know about for you. Interested in a little break from our Tuesday night club here that we've assembled, and the committee that we've gotten to know each other pretty well. And thank you we've had great engagement, great attendance, very insightful comments and ideas, and in such a respectful manner. It's just, I think, a privilege when you get to come together as a community and collaborate and kind of pursue new ideas and new dreams for our community, for our region. I'm excited about where this will end up, and excited to see the potential. So thank you for investing many, many, many hours to get us to this point. I had some concerns of whether June 7th was going to be achievable 9 months ago. We all looked at that calendar and said, ooh, this is going to come quickly, but we did it. So thank you so much. Any other business tonight?
I guess I would just like to comment on the proposals that were made.
Yeah.
14, I think, in all, and those proposals, for the most part, were well done and well organized and well presented. And so just a shout out and thank you to the community for bringing those forth and making our jobs a little easier with the detail that they had, and that we were able to get our arms around those projects and what the community was interested in.
Yeah, it was pretty inspiring to see all the ideas and proposals come together, and there wasn't one that I think all of us agree that isn't worthy of further consideration by city leadership and other community leaders. So the RENU process won't be the end for many of those great ideas, I hope. And thank you to our city leaders for being here extra hours in the evening to support us and help guide along the way. We had, I think, agreed last meeting that we would present our recommendations June 21st at the next scheduled city council meeting. I'll work with Brian and Lisa to get that on the agenda, hopefully. And anyone that's available would sure appreciate your support and attendance. I'll be glad to go through at least our recommendations and provide an overview in fast order of 9 months of activity here to the city council. But if you would be willing to be there and offer your guidance to the council as well as feedback, that would be appreciated. Any other business for this evening? If not, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Here, here.